I'm Atlanta dentist Andrew Kokabi of Brookhaven Family Dentistry, and I'm coming to you live from the lovely waiting room of our dental practice here in the Brookhaven suburb of Atlanta. And today, we're going to answer a good question, and that is, does my broken tooth really need a filling? Or what does it need? Anything? I get a lot of patients in for second opinions who have been told that maybe their broken tooth needs to have something done to it. And our dental practice has a great reputation for being very conservative and minimally invasive in our treatment recommendations. We don't really want to drill on your teeth unless we really need to drill on them. So we get people in all the time asking, saying, you know, I've had this tooth for a long time, it hasn't bothered me, do I really need to do anything? So let's do a deep dive on it and figure it out. First of all, quick little rundown, what is a filling? And I've got another video that goes into a much greater explanation of that, but a filling is fake tooth structure. So if you have a rotten tooth structure or your tooth structure is missing and you're going to get fake tooth structure there, it's a filling is what it is. Some fillings are white fillings. These are called composite resin. This is the most normal type of filling to do. Once again, you're missing tooth structure, we put that in there and it makes the tooth whole again. And other fillings are silver fillings, they're amalgam fillings. We don't really do any amalgam fillings anymore. They were popular many years ago, but no one really does them anymore. So that's what that is. Now, let's go into the good stuff. Does my broken tooth really need a filling? Now, the million-dollar question for broken or chipped teeth is, how big is the piece that broke off? Because you could do nothing. You could do a filling, or if it's really bad, you may need a crown. For example, this tooth already has a huge silver filling, and now more of it is broken off. That's a lot of tooth structure missing. You can't really do a filling on that. You can, but if you do, it'll probably break off because fillings are only meant to be a certain size. And once they start getting to be too big, they're not going to stay in place. And you're going to bite on something and it's going to break it off further. So 9.9 out of 10 dentists are going to agree this tooth needs a crown, not a filling, and you should not leave it alone, because if you do leave it alone, food will get stuck in there. A little bit of pieces of food will get underneath the old filling and it'll start rotting it out. So I put together this really fancy detailed diagram. As you can tell, it's computer generated. Just kidding, it's hand drawn. But there's here, it's a good drawing nonetheless. This is what a normal tooth is. If you got a big old chunk of it missing, yes, that tooth does not need a filling, it needs a crown. If you have a medium size of the tooth missing, we can probably do a filling on that and you'll be just fine. It'll stick to the tooth and it'll stay in place and hopefully won't break off. And finally, if you just have a tiny little bit of your tooth chipped off, we may be fine doing nothing. Health-wise, a little tiny chip like that is not going to do you any harm. No food is really getting stuck in there and rotting your tooth out. So health-wise, it's fine. Aesthetically, if it bothers you, sometimes we can get away with just kind of smoothing it off and rounding it off and trying to make it look even. That is definitely easier and less invasive than a filling, and often that works well. So those are three different scenarios in which either a crown may be needed, or a filling, or maybe even do nothing. Now, what happens if you do nothing on one of the scenarios where we're recommending a filling or a crown? Well, in those situations, if your tooth is now weaker because you're missing this tooth structure and you're still chewing with it, there's a chance that the rest of your tooth may break off, and then you're going to be in trouble, because at that point, if it breaks off really badly, we may not be able to do anything, and we tell you the tooth needs to be pulled. And earlier I touched on this a little bit. If it's broken off and it's creating little nooks and crannies where pieces of food can get wedged in there, it can start rotting it out. So a lot of the time, you should get a broken tooth fixed. But sometimes it's okay to leave them alone. Sometimes it breaks off in such a manner that it doesn't have little nooks and crannies where stuff can get stuck in it and rot it out. And it's maybe such a small part of your tooth that's broken off that it has no negative impact on the rest of it. So this is hard to answer. You probably need to get a dentist to answer this question. For example, I'm a big music fan, and this is my boy Anthony Kiedis of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. If you go back to 1991 and you watch their Give It Away video, it starts off with a shot of his broken front tooth. And now here he is about 30 years later, and you probably can't see in this picture, but he still has that broken front tooth. It's been fine for all these years health-wise. Aesthetically, he probably thinks it looks good. Other people may not. So yeah, you probably want to get it fixed if you have a broken front tooth, but health-wise, maybe it'll be okay if nothing is done. So now, if you have cavities, then you can't leave that alone, of course, because that'll cause you some major problems. Okay, that sums up the different scenarios for a broken tooth of when you may need a filling and when you can leave it alone or need a crown. There are other scenarios where you may need fillings. We touched on one, cavities. Another one is abfraction lesions. These are usually around the gum line. And you may have old fillings that need to be replaced. And root canal treated teeth sometimes may need crowns, sometimes may not, or fillings. But I have other videos that go into much greater explanation of these. So if you want to learn about those scenarios, then feel free to check out my videos. Once again, I'm Andrew Kokabi of Brookhaven Family Dentistry, and we've got an awesome little dental practice here in the Brookhaven suburb of Atlanta. We've got some very kind-hearted, quality team members here helping people out every day, and we'd love for you to stop by and say hi. Thank you for your time. Hi, once again, I'm Atlanta dentist Andrew Kokabi of Brookhaven Family Dentistry, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, do me a favor and click the thumbs up button on the bottom of the screen. Also, if you live in the Atlanta area, then congratulations, because you live in a town where we have hundreds of wonderful dental offices, and ours is certainly one of them. I will say this though, we are one of only 3 offices in the North Atlanta area that have not only a perfect 5-star rating on Google, but also have over 600 Google reviews. So I'm pretty proud of that. Anyway, yeah, feel free to give us a call or stop by and say hi. Thanks.